So this is one tool offered by the Azure pricing calculator. You can just type on the Google Azure calculator, you will get this page. Now here, what actually we are doing, I want to provision something onto the cloud. Okay, let's say I want to create one server onto the cloud, okay, for my requirement. So I will give all my need and I will see what is the costing on a daily basis or monthly basis. So here you can see, when I say we are going for the cloud products or the resources, normally we use 4 terms. We say storage, we say networking, we say memory. So actually these are the terms, these are the resources which are available onto the cloud, like compute. So when I say compute, compute means these things: virtual machine skill set. Virtual machine means you are going to deploy one virtual machine. This is a kind of a cluster of virtual machines you want to deploy. Then we have a networking resources are there. You want to create a virtual network, VPN gateway, so many things are there. Storages are there. So likewise, these are the different resources that you can deploy or means kind of provision onto the cloud. So let's say I want to create a very simple virtual machine for my work, and I want to see what are my expenses if I move to the cloud or if I use cloud for the service. So I want to configure one virtual machine here. So I will take my virtual, I will click on this. So it will be preparing our calculator. And you can just go down here, and then you will select the region where you want to deploy. Every region have a different costing. And also one thing to note, that all the resources are not available in all the regions. So you have to just check that the resource which you are looking for is available in the region or not. So you can check these are the region. If you look at this, in Australia we have these regions are there. So I can go for Central India, for example. Now what kind of OS you want to install? Now what we are doing, we are configuring one server, one virtual machine. So I want to go for a Windows or a Linux. So we can select from here. I want to configure a Windows machine. And at the top of OS, you want to configure any database, any SQL server, or you want simply the OS. Okay, I want only OS. And then what kind of tier you want? You want a standard or you want basic? So if I say I want to go for basic, that means I will be going for only very general purpose machine, which is providing kind of up to 8 core processor, up to 14 GB RAM. Okay, so this is a very basic purpose machines in this basic option. When I say basic means there are different offerings are there, different series are there. We have A0 to A5, we have series F, we have series D. It is basically depending on the kind of high performance machine. If you are looking for only general computing, then you can go for A series. Okay, if you want to configure a server which is dealing with a gaming kind of devices where you want more graphical kind of input, you can go for GPU kind of. There's a N series. So based on the requirement, you can select. For example, if I say basic, you can see that this is only A options are available to us. You can go up to 8 core and 14 GB. This is the maximum possible you can get in the basic. But in the standard, we have many options are there, and you can avail so many high configuration. But high configuration means high charge. So let's say I go for basic. Okay, then category is general purpose. So when I say basic means we have only one category available, but when I say standard, we can have all the categories are available to us. Okay, and then instances. So here only basic is A, otherwise we can see all. If you want to see, then I can make it standard, and you can see we have so many options are there. Means we want to go with D series, V series, or F series. These are the different kind of configuration which is required for different purposes. Now what does purposes means? For example, we want our server will be more memory sensitive, means we want more memory requirement, or sometimes we want more storage requirement. So based on this requirement, they have different series are there. So you just identify requirement and then select that series. So this basic I have selected, and then this we are. So I will go with, let's say, 4 core machine. And then how many virtual machines I want to deploy or provision onto the cloud. Let's say one only, or just give some value 3. And then this is the default value. It's given 730 hours, means it's almost 1 month. So you can change the hour value if you want to say for 10 hours, 20 hours, you can change it. Okay, then the saving options are there. Let's say now, let's say you are having one data center, means you are still having your company is having a data center, and you are also having the license of the Microsoft, and you want to avail some services from the Microsoft onto the cloud. So if you already have a license, then there is no need to pay the license fees. You can simply tell them that I already have the license. The charges are not applicable for configuring your server. So this option is there. So let's say license included or not, you can just select here, and you can see if it is, this is the price. If I go with this, then the price will change to this. And then you can select, for example, if you are going for the basic model, then there is no option for reserving. You cannot reserve your instances. You can only go for pay as you go, because it's the cheapest one. So reserving is only possible when you go for the high end model. So it says that because you have chosen the basic, then you can only go for pay as you go. Okay, but here you can have the options to do all these kind of things. And then you can disk, what kind of disk? So you have HDD and SSD. So HDD is the cheaper one. SSD is actually a kind of better one, so let's go for SSD. Okay, and LRS. So LRS we have, that is called local redundancy storage. One is called ZRS, that is called zone redundancy storage. What does it mean? I want to avail a backup of my virtual machine, and when I say LRS, that means in the same region I want to make a backup in the different zone. So this is called LRS. Okay, so if I go for ZRS, that means I want to make a backup in the different zone. If I go for the GRS is not available for this particular basic tier, but GRS means I want to make a backup in the different region. So we want a business to be run all the time. So if there is kind of mishappening is there, if some kind of natural calamity is there, then still we can restore the backup. So actually, when I say backup and archiving, both basically means copying, but the meaning is different. When I say backup, means we are keeping a backup of the current data which is operational. That will be very, very crucial for the running the business. But when I say archiving, that means the data which is very old and we want to store it. So whenever we are doing archiving, we are actually releasing our memory, keeping that data into the cheaper kind of storage medium. Normally we do archiving in the tapes, right? So archiving is kind of also backup, but the data which is not required for running the business. But backup means the current data which is actually very crucial to do the operational operations. So we can select whatever the redundancy you want. So this is actually maybe not available. It's available LRS here. You can go for LRS. And then how many disks you want to deploy, you can select 1, 2, 3. So, and then a snapshot. A snapshot is what? A snapshot is basically the kind of it's again a copy of the current instance. Whatever is the kind of transaction you are having at any point of time. So we will take a instance. We'll keep. We will take a picture of that and keeping in our backup. So we have option, means at what frequency you want to take these instances. So at what duration you want to take the snapshot. So you can say I want to take a snapshot for 8 GB of data or 20 GB of data. If you are opting this option, then you have to pay for it. So let's say leave this option here. Then for 10,000 transaction, it is said to be 1 unit. So how many transaction you want to take, that will be charged 0.0020. So if I say 100, then for every 100 into 10,000 transactions, I will be paying this much amount. Then we have a bandwidth requirement. So we will be filling some values. So we are just having a kind of idea that what actually the options available to us. So source means what is the region where your data center is located, means from where you are migrating your data and where you want to store it. So the source and the destination. So you will be selecting the source and also the destination. And then the outbound transfer. So 5 GB is like 0 here. So if you go beyond this, then it will be chargeable. So up to 5 GB, the cost is free. Then support. So the basic support is actually provided for this kind of deployment. But if you want some expert support, then it will be chargeable. If I go for developer support, then this is chargeable. So we'll go for the basic one. And then, okay, so this is actually done. And then you can just export this. And you can see that we can get one Excel file, which will give all the information of this configuration. Along with that, you can see the currency, you can see the price. So you can do all this kind of calculation. And as well, you can share this kind of estimation, this cost estimation with this share link. So when you click on share, you get one link. That link can be shared to your the person who is linked with this kind of estimation. You can save it. Save it means you can save this. For saving, you have to log in with your account. You can save it, and later if you want to do some changes, you can change it and see the costing. Okay, so this is one tool which is actually used when we talk about deploying something onto the cloud. So here you need to first understand what is your need, then only you can provide the input.